meeting. And you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda is 611 Tower Lane, Suites E and F, conditional use permit, request for an instructional dance studio, Storm Dance Academy, to locate in an M1 zoned area, CU-17-25, tax 23-008.00-110.
Up here to the main podium.
Good evening. How are you?
How are you doing?
My name is Joel Essler. I'm the co-owner of Storm Dance Academy. We are establishing a dance studio down here in Middletown, following the closure of another dance studio that my partner in the business, it recently closed, so we're opening a new one.
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Where is the parking going to be located?
There's a parking lot out front. It's in between First State Gymnastics and the building that we're in. There's two parking lots that are there.
Okay.
How many people do you think you'll have at a time?
A lot, hopefully. No, right now we have about 20 students. We're going to start the studio with, and only 2 of them drive. You know, all these people are under the age of 18, roughly. It's generally parents drive by, kick their kid out as the car's still rolling, and they come in. So it's not a lot of traffic. It's in and out, and that's it. And generally, the kids are there for 3 to 4 hours at a time for various classes. So they're there for a good amount of time. Generally from about 4:30, 5 o'clock to about 9:30.
He's on his way.
That's what Jen said. The tax study's 5 minutes behind.
It's at 5 minutes behind. But, I guess to stretch it out a little bit longer before Joe gets here, what type of dance do you offer?
All kinds. So the partner, who is actually my fiance that we formed the studio together, is a level 7 rated professional instructor for every type of dance that you can imagine. So tap, ballet, point.
I have a Kinder 1 in the audience there who does tap and ballet.
There you go. Yeah. So, you know, modern, contemporary, everything. We teach everything. So
Wonderful.
Does she do salsa?
she does teach adult classes as well.
Salsa dance?
No,
No?
no.
I'd sign up.
Look, I don't know, you know, her talent is limitless, so it might be a thing that she does. We are planning on eventually, once we have the space and we're all built out, we are eventually planning on having adult classes as well. There's a lot of interest in adult classes from the over 18 former dance people in Middletown. We have a lot of interest in that type of thing.
Like ballroom, that's where salsa normally falls under.
We do teach occasional wedding dances. So teach the couple how to do their first dance and choreograph a dance for them. Currently, that's done in my living room. So it'll be nice to have a formal space to do so.
Wonderful.
Excuse me.
Any other questions? May I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll motion. 611 Tower Lane, Suites E and F, conditional use permit request for an instructional dance studio, Storm Dance Academy, to locate in an MI zone area, CU-17-25, tax parcel number 23-008.00-110.
Second.
Any other questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
See you at Mayor and Council meeting.
Next is 4991 Summit Bridge Road, preliminary major land development plan for 2 commercial retail buildings with associated parking and improvements. Building number 1 comprises 17,500 plus or minus square feet, and building 2 comprises of 6,500 plus or minus square feet in a C3 zoned area. 2 entrances are proposed along each frontage road. Tax parcel 23-075.00-095.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Hume with Wood & Associates. I'm the civil engineer for this property. This property is located on the northeast corner of Summer Bridge Road and Marl Pit Road. It's diagonal across from the Wawa. As you stated, it's a commercial development. There's 2 buildings, one larger building, about 17,000 square feet, multi-tenant building, retail and/or restaurants. There's a standalone building towards the front. That's about 6,500 square feet. That could be a multi-tenant, but most likely probably one tenant, maybe a restaurant. The site, utility-wise, are sewer, and there was water close to the property at the intersection there. Sewer will be handled on site with a grinder pump and then discharged to a location possibly behind the Wawa to the pump station there, or if it's determined another spot would be feasible, that's yet to be determined. Stormwater, obviously, stormwater will be handled on site. The stormwater generally drains south and to the east, and then that's where we have the stormwaters located. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What were either way the environmental contamination issues?
There was an environmental report done before it was annexed in a couple years ago. To my knowledge, the requirements of that report, if any, all soils on site either need to stay on site, or if they are going to be removed, they have to be tested first for specific contaminants, whatever they may be, if they're going to be exported. So most likely there could be topsoil exported. Most of these type of properties usually excess topsoil. So if that's the case, like I said, the requirements are to be tested.
It's my understanding that this project started a while ago, right? I mean, we're talking, when did this start?
The annexation was, I think it was like maybe 2 years ago. I don't remember the
Remediation. I think the remediation by Denrick.
I'm not
Start
sure.
back in like 2014.
Possibly,
or
yes.
something like
I mean,
that.
it's,
So
it's, the
so I
buildings
was-
have been gone for a long time.
It was my understanding that the remediation process had already happened and was completed. Is that correct?
I believe so. That's why if anything gets taken off, that needs to be tested to make sure it is or is not. You know, if it's not contaminated, it'll stay on. It could, it can take it off to a site that doesn't need to take contaminated material.
What type of fertilizer was on the site?
I'm not sure. It predates my time.
I guess,
It was Milford Fertilizer. I assume it's for agricultural purposes.
came into this meeting, I was under the impression that, so there's different types of fertilizer. There's fast release and there's also slow release. And depending on the type, there's also synthetic and organic. Depending on like the types it takes, there's a longer length of time for the remediation process. So I came into the meeting thinking, maybe I miscomprehended, but that the process had already started over a decade ago. So now we were in like the safe zone, but now I'm a little confused about where you are in the process. when we're
Well, I
talking about
mean,
taking contaminated soil
from my
off?
standpoint, I haven't been involved in any of that process, like you said, many, many years ago. There is an environmental report that is out there. Was submitted when the annexation, happened. And like I said, if any recommendations in there, we'll follow. And I know one of them is that any soils that are exported are tested.
As, what I was going to say is that environmentally, this is great that you're, doing the remediation, taking care of the hazards and the toxins, and it's an awesome, efficient use of, land. And it's also great that it's a commercial building versus a warehouse or a residential. And so, love the project, but now I'm just a little confused as to, so right now, you can't build right now then if you're still going through the remediation process, right?
I don't believe there's any restrictions right now.
No, there's not according to Denreck's letter that's in the old file. We got the copy on 10/8/25. And Denreck was working on this back in March 23.
Like 10/8/21, so a few years back. That's before my time here.
And it was just regular fertilizer that you spread out. It wasn't any liquid.
Just for clarification reasons, what we're actually proposing here is for the actual development of the building, is that right? And proposing for, the parking and so on and so forth, is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So, I
And-
mean, as far as contaminated soils, I mean, it's a good use because most of the soils will be covered with impervious surfaces, so the stormwater will be captured and it won't be soaking and seeping into the ground and transporting that, so.
So that was my next thing that I was gonna bring up, was that you said that you were gonna transport, right? What kind of transportation are you talking about? Like so that rainwater is gonna be captured, is that what you said?
Yeah, there'll be on-site stormwater management. Yep, that'll keep the stormwater on-site, and it slowly releases it over a period of time.
Should have a timeline
Yeah.
that we can look at.
And I'm just ignorant to it, you know what I mean? So I do apologize, but how does that work? You know what I mean? So it's actually captured on site and then it goes through the process of actually filtering itself out and then it disperses on its own?
Yeah, it depends on the type of stormwater facility, like an infiltration basin that has a component where it soaks into the soil, but there's other types of stormwater management that are purely holding the water for an extended period of time and release it in small amounts over, say 48 hours. Because when it rains, say it rains for 10 hours, it's going to peak at a certain time and then fade off, and it's going to be collected and then released over a longer period of time, therefore reducing the overall quantity at a time, capacity of the stormwater system.
And that's actually there on site?
Pretty
And
numbers.
is that only for that site or is there other sites around that area that would be actually contributing for that?
Well, most sites are pretty much separate from other sites, say to the north or west.
Okay.
Every site has stormwater management. That's a
Sure.
requirement of all sites. Mostly they all handle their own, and then they kind of discharge towards like the closest discharge point or closest water body. So eventually they all go together and always make it out to the ocean eventually.
And then my next question was about the sewage. You said that it was gonna patch through to where the Wawa is. Is that correct, or a possible?
Yeah, right now, there's a pump station behind the Wawa that was built several years ago when the Wawa was built. It handles the Wawa, the townhouse community behind it. And that's the furthest the town sewer system is right now. So obviously, this is north of that area, so it has to be designed in such a way to tie into that system. We've been talking with the town engineers to determine, does it have capacity? What's the feasibility of tying into that? So that's the whole process that happens.
What is the feasibility? Does it look good?
We're just starting the process right now.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So I think I might just gain a little bit more clarity. So I think that it's been through the remediation process, but because it was such a, not a long time ago, but a couple years ago, I think what you were trying to say is that they're going to test the topsoil, right? To see where you're currently at. And then I think,
Move the topsoil.
If it,
If it moves the
yeah,
site, if it
yeah.
leaves the site, they have to test it to make sure they don't take it someplace else.
Only if it leaves the site, right?
Right, am I right with that?
And you can
If
still
it's
use the soil that's there
Yeah,
if it
yeah,
stays
like if
on
it's-
site.
Yeah, like if it's gonna stay where it is, if it's gonna stay on
Total
site,
corn.
it just stays where it is.
but it's, at this point
Sorry.
though, the soil that will stay on site is not, it does not have the hazards, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, the way-
cancerous
yeah, I mean, like, when the soil, evaluation is done, they can't, test every single square inch, so what we're saying is, or what the report's saying, if you have a soil that you're gonna truck off and move, they want that tested to determine, does it or does it not contain contamination? And then, based on it, yes or no, they'll determine either where it goes or what is done at that point. So ideally, in a perfect world, there'd be no excess dirt to leave, but that's most probably unlikely. Maybe some. So there's procedures like we just talked about.
And that's for the dirt that's there. So it doesn't relieve, it doesn't move the site. So as for it's there, just like, how does that work? It's already tested, right? It's already ran through, it's already processed through, so the people that are gonna live or reside there or eat there in the restaurants and stuff like that aren't gonna be contributing from that factor? Is that correct?
I didn't really understand the question. I mean, if there's any contaminated soil, it's gonna be in the ground, it's the type of use, they're not, once it's under the pavement and the buildings, there's no, interaction with the soil anymore.
For sites like this, when they actually want you to put an impervious surface over it, which basically caps it and basically captures it and keeps it in its place so that it doesn't get water washing it off or directing it down in the ground. So the impervious surface for the pavement and the building actually helps to basically capture it. It caps it. That's what they want, so.
And then what about any green space that's left there?
Same thing. It's basically the majority of the site is capped. The rest of it, as long as it's not disturbed and taken off site, it meets the criteria. So back to this report. So there were multiple steps they went through, and that's what the report identifies, the various steps they went through in terms of testing and reporting and all that kind of stuff. And what Dennis is referring to is at the very end, there's a report that says, here's what you have to do if you do anything with the site. And one of the things that Dennis was mentioning is that if you truck material off the site, one of the criteria that was stipulated in that final report is that material has to be tested, and if it's found to have contaminants, it goes to one location. If it's found to be acceptable, it goes to another location. But once the site is developed, it essentially caps and locks in any contaminants and basically neutralizes the site essentially, so.
we don't know what the commercial use will be at this point.
No, not
Retail.
as far as users or anything, no. They don't typically come until the plan's approved and things start getting interest in it and
This
they
is the
start
beginning
coming.
stages.
It's gonna be retail though, right?
Yeah, it could be retail and or restaurants, mostly similar stuff like that.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Is there just one entrance and exit? Or is that another one in the back?
There's two total, one on Summit Bridge Road on the north end there.
And then the one in the
then-
back?
And
Okay.
then one
It was
off of
closed
Marlbrook
off. I
Road.
didn't know if it. All right, thank you.
And they're right, and they're only gonna be right
Yeah,
entrance, no
yeah,
left-hand turns.
There's
into-
islands on both roads there that make them right in, right out only.
That's good.
Any other questions? Questions in the audience? Have a motion?
I don't have my glasses.
I'll motion. I did the last, 4991 Summit Bridge Road preliminary major land development plan for two commercial retail buildings with associated parking and improvements. Building number one comprises 17,500 plus or minus square feet. Building two comprises 6,500 plus or minus square feet in a C3 zoned area. Two entrances are proposed along each frontage road. Tax parcel number 23-075.00-095.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried.
Thank you, have a great night.
Thank you.
Before we adjourn, Deputy or, I'm sorry, Morris or Kristen, do we know if the state requires, Joe and I were kind of having this off conversation about what happens when someone walks their dog on the contaminated land or kids run off and play. Does the state require like some sort of plaque or something just to say this is a,
Sites like this?
yeah?
I don't believe so. If it did require it, it would be a part of that report. So I can dig into that a little bit more, but I don't believe so. It's not very common for that, particularly on a commercial site.
Like, it would be part of the DNREC report, wouldn't it?
It'd be part of the report that was
Yeah.
prepared as part of this, so we could try.
It just, the only reason is not neglecting anybody's, you know what I mean? But it's like when you sit there and say, we're gonna cap earth with earth. It's like, and there's gonna be no water going into that earth that has that stuff in it. It's like, because we put stuff on top of this earth, it's like, it's kinda, seems kinda,
Well, that's not so
You know,
much
but-
like, so I had a dog who, every time she went to the bathroom, she would kick up dirt and stuff, you know, so. We used to bring her everywhere with us, she was our baby before the babies. So I would like to know, you know, if I'm going to pick up, I don't know if it's Chinese food, I don't know what this is gonna be.
I don't see any green
You know what I
space
mean?
though.
There's no green
right,
space.
yeah. That was the other thing I was, after I said that comment about the green space, I was like, there's, no.
Yeah, it's interesting, actually, for a lot of these brownfields, the final recommendation from DNREC generally is to cap it. And to cap it means to basically build an impervious surface over top of it. And so building something like this actually is a benefit because it's
Yeah.
no longer exposed to the elements, it's no longer exposed to, you know, people on the site. Basically, it's captured and it's, you know, away from people, once you.
It creates
build on
less
top of it.
runoff. A lot less of the, you know, cause there's no more of the, you know, if there's a building on it versus rain.
Ground, yeah.
Right,
It does
right,
make
right.
sense. I mean, that's why I said I kind of retract my statement about green space, but it does make sense, you know, like when you put pavement or something on top of it so you can't touch the earth. Yeah, that makes sense.
Do we have a lot of, spaces like this in the?
A lot of brownfields? No, we have very few in town. You know, Johnson Controls, I think, is one, right there on Clarios River. You have any other? There are very few in town.
Southern States and Agway were the only two that I know of.
Yep, all in that same area right there by the Clarios.
But they sold fertilizer, so.
But no, there's very, very few in town, just a couple that I'm aware of, so.
I think it's a great choice of commercial, you know, retail there, so,
Thank you for that knowledge.
thank you.
A motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I'll second. Beat you, Keith.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.